So welcome to Module 5 of this course. It's going to be called Joining Groups. Within this module, we are going to be covering the following. So Maslow's hierarchy of needs and how that relates to joining groups in any way, how to find the right groups, and also engaging appropriately with the people within those groups. So firstly, Maslow's hierarchy of needs. If you've not heard of this, it's basically a pyramid, which I'll show you in a second, which covers human needs, starting from the basic needs that you need to sort of survive and live, like shelter, food, water, etc., moving up through the ranks. But the ultimate goal is to achieve the sense of personal achievement and meaning. That's basically what you can take away from the pyramid and what it means as a whole. So if I just show you the actual diagram here, these are all the different stages. The two that we're going to be focusing on today, the two that are really important to groups and sort of social selling, are esteem and love and belonging. So as I just mentioned, physiological is the lowest part of the pyramid. It's not too important to what we're going to be speaking about today, but basically as people fulfill each stage, starting from the bottom of the pyramid and move up, this is what they move on to wanting and feeling, that like sort of a desire that they need to fulfill. So the first one that I want to touch on is the love and belonging stage. So as I've written here, this is the need for interpersonal relationships and how it motivates behavior. So some examples could include friendship, trust, acceptance, being part of a group. So I guess you can probably tell it's pretty self-explanatory how that relates to being part of a group. So it's basically creating friendships, bonding with people around you, feeling like you belong and you are part of a group. It directly correlates to LinkedIn as well. Obviously, LinkedIn is more of a professional group setting, but nonetheless, it's going to incorporate trust with your prospects, and for them to feel that love and belonging for you will help them trust you and then sort of go down that sales process with less resistance than if they didn't have these things in place. Above this, so once they feel like they have trust, they have friendship, they're accepted, they feel like part of that group, you move up to the esteem level of the pyramid of this triangle. So the esteem section can be split into two. Number one is esteem for oneself. So this is defined by achievement, dignity, mastery, and independence. And the desire for reputation and respect from others is the second section. So this is status and prestige. So with the top section, achievement, mastery, independence, people love to speak about themselves. They like to big themselves up. They like to feel good. And on LinkedIn, obviously, because it's sort of professional achievements, sometimes a few personal ones, but there's a fine line with what you want to include on LinkedIn. You're going to have people that want to feel good about what they've done, which is why in some of the later modules, I'll help you incorporate esteem to actually help people respond more so to you through sort of complimenting them, recognizing their achievements, and sort of making them feel good about themselves and what they've achieved with their career. The second section is desire for reputation and respect from others, so status and prestige. Sort of, obviously, you want to have this for yourself as well, so having respect and being perceived as an authority, but also acknowledging that from other people and allowing them to get that respect both ways. So obviously you giving them respect in the group and them respecting you for what you've done and having your respected statuses within your industries. So that's sort of the triangle and how I like to relate that to joining groups and sort of the basic psychology behind it. Now, if we move on to the next section of this module, how can we apply this to LinkedIn? So as I've kind of briefly just covered, we want to apply the principles from the esteem and love and belonging stages in Maslow's pyramid to your interactions with your group communities. So you really need to focus on the trends and behavior of your prospects within the group and use this to sort of interact real time with the people that are posting, that are engaging on the group, and you really want to take the time to notice what they care about, what they're talking about, and what their needs are so that you can sort of provide the solution to them. The third point that I want to make is, alongside posting your own original content, also interact on other posts and answer questions to increase your level of perceived authority. So obviously a lot of people will join a bunch of groups, they'll post all of their original content, and then they'll never respond to comments on their own pieces. They won't reach out and interact with other people that have commented within the group. And obviously that is very one-sided. It makes it pretty obvious that you're there for yourself and your own personal gain. But when you really start to reach out and you're seen helping multiple people within that group, within that community, and sharing your own insights, whether it benefits you or not, it's really going to help you be trusted and sort of make people respect you and perceive you as an authority because you're acting selflessly. And through that, people will come to you naturally to find out more information when you've achieved that sort of level of hierarchy within the groups. So moving next, onto the next stage, finding the right groups. So just as a side note, you can join up to 100 groups on LinkedIn, but you don't want to be one of those people that joins every single group under the sun. You want to be joining the groups that are relevant, that will have your ideal prospects contained within them, whether it's people who are sort of geographically targeted, so people that are within your location or around the world. But you do want to consider your target demographic, where they are based, so the geography, and any interests they may have. And through that, sort of create a web, a connection of different groups where all your ideal clients could be waiting for you, and you want to go into those groups, interact, and establish your status within each of those. So I'm going to show you quickly how to locate and target and how to join groups. So if we hop onto my LinkedIn, so let me go over here. So if I go onto my search bar at the top, I could search a key phrase, a keyword, something to do with my niche. So say, for example, within the gym niche, I could go on gym owners, for example. Say that's my target demographic. I want to search that in the LinkedIn bar at the top. And then from here, you'll see this sort of bar where you can choose the different filters. So if I clicked on people, it would show all the people that have this throughout their profile, jobs, content to do with gym owners. We want to click on more. You'll get a drop down here. You want to select groups. So when you select group, it will show you all the results that relate to this phrase. So gym owners group, gym owners of America, gym owners India, fitness club, and gym owners success network. Going down, you kind of get the picture. So say, for example, I lived in a specific part of the world, I would try and find groups that are to my location. So I could put, maybe if I go London fitness. So these are a little bit better. So London health of fitness, corporate health, fitness and wellness in London. So you've got to play a little bit with the words that you put in the phrases, because I can guarantee that most major cities, they will all have LinkedIn groups relevant to their niche. It's just that sometimes you have to put in different keywords or phrases to actually show the groups up. But another thing I wanted to mention as well is the amount of members that it has. Now, it doesn't matter if it has fewer members. Obviously, the more members, the better in terms of reach with your networks. Obviously, if there's a group that has 1,000 people in it, whenever you're posting content, it's up for 1,000 people to go see. Those 1,000 people could be potential connections for you, where you can, in Sales Navigator, I'll show you this in a different video, but you can search people within the same groups as you and reach out to them and have in your messages like, hey, I noticed we're part of the same group, thought it'd be awesome to connect and continue sharing value with each other, something like that. So it's obviously good to have groups with high member numbers, but also these smaller groups, it could still be really good. So it's still worth sort of going onto them, checking it out a little bit, applying, seeing what it's like on the inside. It could be that it's smaller because the owners are actually quite specific and select about who they admit. But yeah, I would still open up and give these places a chance. If you go in and it's really not a good group for you, you can always leave the group. But basically, if you want to do this, you want to request to join. It sends the request, and then obviously I'll get a notification if they accept me into the group. Now, one other thing with this is if you're just starting out with LinkedIn and joining loads of groups, it won't let you try and add like 30, 40 groups at a time if all of them are pending. So I would recommend actually having a list of groups that you want to join. And then as you get accepted to more and more groups, you can then go back to your list and continue requesting to join. Otherwise, the reason that it won't let you join loads of groups at a time is because it looks spammy, like you're just trying to join any group. You've not really thought about who you're going to be interacting with, and it's just a sort of protection that LinkedIn has in place to make sure that you're not trying to join every single group under the sun without interacting and engaging and actually participating in that group. So yeah, I would recommend maybe requesting to join, say like 5 groups every few days, every week, and as people accept you, continue joining those groups. Just note it down in like a notes section or a spreadsheet or however you want to do it. But yeah, so that's how this kind of works. I hope this explained it to you. If you want to see which groups you are a part of when you go to your posts and interact in there, all you want to do is click up here in the main bar, click on work, and it will show what you're a part of. So I could go on groups and it will show a list of my groups, and then I can open them all in a new tab and interact, post my content, etc. So the next stage is how to engage appropriately within LinkedIn groups. So you should avoid the following practices. There's 3 types of posts that you really want to stay away from. It won't go well. You'll probably get sort of removed from the group, or it won't do very good for your social proof. If you start upsetting people within a group, it could taint your reputation pretty quickly. So the first one is controversial posts. Good examples of these would include political or religious posts. These are topics that people feel strongly about, so I would recommend, if it's sort of very opinionated and you're being controversial on certain topics, I would stay away from this so you don't upset anybody. Obviously, if it's to do with your personal brand and this is maybe like your niche or it's what you speak about, again, I would just be very careful how you phrase what you say and where you put it, and try and put things up for suggestions, not you kind of making a point and going against a big group of people. So yeah, I would try and avoid controversial posts as much as possible. The second type of post that you should avoid is inappropriate personal posts. So try to keep a healthy balance between social and professional. Something that you would share with your Facebook friends might not be appropriate for your professional LinkedIn network. So try and keep the type of content that you post to its respective platform. People on LinkedIn don't want to see like a meme that you found funny that you'd share with your mates on Instagram. They care about stuff that's going to benefit their professional career, insights that are business related, not a meme or like what you ate for lunch. Like, they don't really care about stuff like that. So stay away from inappropriate personal posts. Also, another thing that I would recommend being very careful with is posting personal information either about yourself or somebody else. Obviously on LinkedIn, this is something that people don't actually think about. On LinkedIn, you could, for example, post an image or an update and mention somebody's name or their age or location or business that they work for. And using LinkedIn Sales Navigator, you can use those search parameters to locate somebody pretty easily. So just be aware that information that you put out, if it's personal, it's possible that hundreds of thousands of people now have access to that information and can find stuff out about you or your family that potentially you don't want to share. So just be very mindful of that when you're posting on LinkedIn, because people can find it using the search bars and maybe you wouldn't think of it, but it can be pretty harmful and scary, so please be careful with that. The third type of post that you should avoid is a sales pitch post. So use your post to build relationships with your prospects, especially within these groups, not trying to sell them from directly in that group and sending them sort of like somewhere else to a sales page or whatever it is you're trying to sell them. These kind of posts are going to make you look very spammy. They're going to turn people off. They're going to remove you from the groups if you're just trying to sell all the time, or they're just going to not accept you as a friend, as a connection if you try and reach out to them. So yeah, try not to sell to people directly. This is a lot of cold traffic or people that might have heard of you a little bit, but you might not be connected to a lot of these people in groups. You don't have to be connected to everybody to join a group. So please bear that in mind. Be respectful, post value, post things that are going to help somebody. And then if they want you to sell them, they will come to you, and you want to move that process off of LinkedIn, not selling it directly on there through your post. So yeah, that's everything in this module. I hope you found it extremely useful, and I will see you in the next one.